welcome to the Raising Kellan podcast. My name is Marsh Naidoo, and today I am joined by Rev Dr. Felicia Ingram. Felicia is the newly appointed pastor at Salters Chapel AME Church here in Dyersburg. She's a native of Dyersburg. She is a Trojan. She is a graduate from Dyersburg High School, and both her daughters as well have attended her alma mater. Felicia, welcome to Raising Kellan.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm excited.
To be totally honest, I know Felicia as well from physical therapy, and I have so much of respect for Felicia. She has led our Northwest chapter of the Tennessee Physical Therapy Association and has done so with true leadership and grace. But today, we're not talking physical therapy. We're actually talking more about her work as a pastor and specifically at Salters Chapel Church here in Dyersburg. Felicia, for those listening today, they may be curious about you and wanting to know just a little bit more about your backstory. Would you mind giving that, please?
Sure. Like you said, I'm a physical therapist. I've been a physical therapist, since 1996, whatever that math is, or 1995. But as you said, in this capacity here as a pastor, I actually accepted my call to ministry in 2000 while I was living in Jackson, Tennessee. And in that time, I was doing evangelism, community outreach in the East Jackson community throughout the time that I was there in Jackson. Always about trying to find out the needs of the people and meeting those needs. Because I feel like Jesus does not just want us preaching the word to the people. Even Jesus demonstrated that he desires for people to be made whole. And in order for people to be made whole, we have to assess the physical needs as well as the spiritual needs of people. And so for me, that's what ministry is supposed to look like, the physical and the spiritual needs. And in order for people to want to hear the gospel from you or hear what you have to say, I go back to the old adage that says, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yes.
And so we must be about, when we say we must be about our Father's business, that is being about our Father's business, connecting with the people. And then whenever we see that they have a need, going beyond just saying, I'll pray for you, or I will keep you lifted in my prayers, but really finding out what that need is. And even if I can't financially or physically meet that need, I thank God that he's always putting people like you in my life that will help me to meet those needs of the people. So that's really where everything that God has done for me professionally, it has put me in contact with so many people that now can be resources for me when it comes to the ministry aspect of it. Because, physical therapy is what we do. Physical therapist is not who we are, it's what we do. But who we are for me, is someone who just loves the Lord and loves his people. And so I became an AME pastor in 2019. I first started pastoring in Millington, Tennessee. And then April 2022, I was appointed to New Greater Bethel AME Church in Jackson. And as of April of 2024, I was given a second appointment by Bishop Ann Henning Byfield to help with the church in Dyersburg, Salters Chapel AME Church. And I accepted that appointment without any hesitation because, even though some people are like, aren't you doing too much? But my thing is, when I think about a community that has a need, my heart goes out to them. But also when I think about Salters Chapel being in Dyersburg and, me growing up, I would go to programs and church the events at Salters Chapel. So that's a part of my heritage. And so whenever you tell me that there's a need there, of course, I'm drawn to that. And I just feel like the timing is godly because, I'm an empty nester. There's only me. So the way I look at it is all that time that I spent being a chauffeur to my daughters and their friends, now that they're going off to college and they're, married and have a child and all of that, it just frees me up more time to do more, dedicating more of my time to the ministry needs.
When we look at Salters Chapel AME Church here in Dyersburg, what is your vision? How do you see yourself engaging within the community itself, Felicia?
One of the things that when I think about Salters Chapel, and I was praying about it, and I was, just saying, Lord, what's the mission? What's the vision of this church? And all I kept hearing in my spirit is, this is the place where life and ministry must intersect. Again, making sure that people become whole as they become disciples for Christ. And so when I think about the youth of this day and age, and you think about, so many times you hear people always talking about the kids are, acting out and getting in trouble and things like that. I think about my children and children that I've encountered because I was into youth ministry for most of my ministry career. I think about how children, they're so innocent, but then life begins to happen to them and robs them of that innocence. And so, and by the time we start trying to, intervene whenever they're, high school age or young adults, and they've already started getting into trouble, sometimes that's too late. So for me, I want Salters Chapel, one of the things I want us to do is to begin to engage into the lives of these children at younger ages, to help them to maintain their innocence as long as we can, teaching them how to, because sometimes kids get in trouble because they get bored and they don't know what to do with that energy.
Yes.
And so we have to give them a constructive way to spend their time, because, I think about something my dad would always tell us is, an idle mind is the devil's playground. And so when like summertime hits and people say, well, people start acting out in the summer, it's because they don't have anything to do. School's out. They have all this time on their hands. So if you don't give them something constructive to do, of course, they're going to start being a little mischievous. And so I'm praying for God to send people my way that will help and I know that there's other churches throughout Dyersburg that are doing it. So I'm not saying that I'm coming doing anything new, but what I'm saying is you can never have too many people or too many resources. And so I want to be a resource from that capacity. I also want to the same thing, basically like what I'm doing in Jackson. We do financial education workshops. We do new homeowner workshops. We do things, just whatever the need is in the community. We tailor not just church services, but we tailor educational events to help meet those needs as well. I've been speaking with someone. I have a meeting later on today where I'm going to speak with someone about doing actual community needs assessments, because I can look around a community and I can assume that I know what that community needs. But the only way you're going to know what people need is to speak to the people. And so I'm so grateful that I already have some people in Dyersburg who are on board with me, but then it's a few, but God can do a lot with a little, right? Yes, and so I'm standing on that. But then also because of my ministry in Jackson, I do have some of my members from Jackson who have said, Pastor, we're willing to come to Dyersburg to help you even in this. And so we're going to formulate that team, and we're going to try to get out into the Dyersburg community. And again, we have a lot of churches in Dyersburg, so I'm not saying that there's any churches that are not doing what they need to do, but I'm just saying that I feel like it's just like we are as human beings. There's millions of people on this earth, but God created each and every one of us with a unique purpose and plan. And so I look at Salters Chapel. I feel like if God has Salters Chapel in Dyersburg, then it's there to serve a purpose. And so not trying to overstep or take away from any of the other ministries that are there, but there to help make sure that Salters Chapel is fulfilling its purpose in the community.
Felicia, if I had to ask, what are some of the current needs, if we can maybe just give one or two current needs that you see? And then also, if you can tell us more about the fun day you have planned for the youth on June the 8th. Could you tell us more about that as well?
Absolutely. So right now, Salters Chapel is going through a rebuilding phase. And what I mean by that is the reason that I was appointed, because our appointments are usually done in October. But so for me to get appointed to that church in April says that there was an immediate need. And that immediate need was the membership, just the members of that church. The membership started declining in number and declining in age and physical ability. And so when I came to the church, there was no membership at all. And so in terms of resources, I need people resources.
Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely need people resources. Because if you're going to meet the needs of the people, you need people to help you meet those needs. So needing people, I'm definitely praying that God will bring members, people who will join the church, but also people who are willing to be stakeholders or community partners with the church, so that whenever we're doing events and doing things for the community, people can come across denominational lines and all of the different things that separate us apart and just come together for one common goal, and that's to serve our community. So the people resources are there, of course, just like with any business or any organization, financial support is always needed. Prayers, things along those lines. But as we do the community needs assessment, then I will definitely be able to speak to being able to say, oh, this is what we're needing in terms of materialistic things, and I will be posting on this on Facebook and different areas to let the community know, hey, this is something that we're needing, like I did with the games.
Yes.
Because one of the things that I wanted to do is have a youth day, fun day for the kids in the community, and that's going to take place Saturday, June 8th, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. We have Perry's Unlimited that is coming, and they have the bouncy house. They're going to be doing snow cones and cotton candy and hot dogs, and we'll have chips and drinks and games that, like, you were so gracious to donate to us, playing different games, just having fun, showing kids how to have fun that doesn't include technology, because when we were growing up, we went outside and we played and we created games. And so helping children to get back to that, and just also hoping that more people from the community will come, just so that they can get to know us and so that we can get to know them better as well, because I want for us to be able to build relationship.
Again, the fun day at Salters Chapel will be happening this coming Saturday, June the 8th, from 9 to 1.
Oh, it's an open invitation. We're hoping that people will be just driving by and see what's happening and just come on over. We'll have music playing. It's just going to be us outside, just enjoying the day and enjoying the community. One of the things when I grew up, we talk about how it takes a village to raise a child. I grew up with a village, and not too many children have a village nowadays. And that's hard on the child, and it's hard on the parents. Because as a parent, your children have needs. You want to be able to meet your children's needs, whatever their needs are. But we come with our own human limitations. And so having a village, you have people who can pick up where you can't, even in terms of, you end up having to work late and your child needs to be somewhere. Having someone you can call and say, hey, can my child ride with you? Can you make sure my child gets home? Can you, my child is struggling in math and I'm not good in math. Can you help my child in math? That's a village. And so us getting to know one another, then we can begin to be a resource for one another. Because no matter what your educational background is, no matter what your race is, your socioeconomic status or whatever, everybody has something to contribute. And so the more people we can connect with, I feel like the more that we can be an asset for one another and for our children. So as we have this fun day, I'm hoping that people will come out of the woodworks and come and just have fun and let us get to know them and hopefully just build a relationship.
And let's get busy on building that village, Felicia. Well, thank you for joining us on the podcast. And listen, I look forward to working with you in the future, just creating positive impact. You have a great day, okay?
You do the same. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening along on the podcast. Remember the Fun Day event at Salters Chapel AME Church will be happening this coming Saturday, y'all. So that is just 3 days away here in Dyersburg, Tennessee. As always, we would highly appreciate a rate and review of this episode on your podcast platform. And remember, as always, get to the top of your mountain. This is Marsh Naidoo signing off.